Since its launch in 2013, the DC Extended Universe, DCEU, has struggled to match the roaring success of its biggest competitor, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Despite a few standout moments, the franchise has been plagued by inconsistency, creative overhauls, and numerous box office bombs. Now, Superman is set to fly back onto the big screen this July in what's being touted as a soft reboot of the DCEU. Studio Warner Bros. Is hoping the movie will win back fans and finally bring in some much-needed box office success after a series of financial failures. Whether this new chapter will succeed remains to be seen. The Man of Steel's cinematic outings, within the DCEU and beyond, have been a roller coaster of hits and misses. In anticipation of the release, we've ranked every Superman movie since Richard Donner's 1978 classic by box office gross, adjusted for inflation. Read on to explore the highs and lows of the franchise and discover which movie tops the pile. All dollar amounts in US dollars. The lowest grossing entry in our roundup is Supergirl, 1984. Directed by Jeannot Szwarc and starring Helen Slater in the titular role, the movie marked the character's first ever on-screen appearance. While the cinematic debut of DC's iconic hero seemed like a guaranteed hit, the movie flopped. Panned for its cheesy acting and subpar special effects, Supergirl earned 2 Razzie nominations, annual parody awards that honor the worst movies of the year. Domestically in the US, it earned just $14.3 million, the equivalent of $44 million in today's money, against a budget of $35 million, $108 million today. Worldwide box office figures aren't unavailable, so exactly how much money the movie lost is unclear. However, given the overwhelmingly negative reception, the ill-fated flick almost certainly stands as the franchise's biggest failure. Directed by Sidney J. Furie, Superman IV, The Quest for Peace, 1987, was the 4th entry in the Christopher Reeve-led series. Rather than soar to success, the movie flopped so badly that it effectively killed the entire franchise, with plans for a 5th outing scrapped. Scathing reviews slammed everything from the plot to the cheap special effects, with the movie receiving 2 Razzie Awards. Even star Christopher Reeve had nothing positive to say, writing in his memoir, "Superman IV was a catastrophe from start to finish. That failure was a huge blow to my career." The movie earned a pitiful $36.7 million worldwide, around $104 million today, against a production budget of $17 million, $48 million today. However, when factoring in additional costs such as marketing and distribution, it's likely the movie lost money. Superman 3, 1983, saw Christopher Reeve return as the Caped Kryptonian for a 3rd outing, while Richard Lester directed for the 2nd time. Yet another entry in the franchise to bomb critically, the movie received 2 Razzie nominations. Both critics and audiences were unimpressed by the cringeworthy acting and lackluster musical score. Despite the negative reviews, Superman 3 was a modest box office success, grossing $80.2 million, approximately $258 million today, against an estimated production budget of $39 million, around $126 million today. However, when factoring in marketing and distribution costs, it's unclear whether the movie ultimately turned much of a profit. After a 19-year hiatus, the superhero franchise flew back onto the big screen with Superman Returns, 2006. The movie starred Brandon Routh as Clark Kent and Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane, while Bryan Singer directed. Superman Returns premiered to a mixed critical reception. Visually, the movie was lauded, earning an Academy Award nomination for Best Visual Effects. However, some of the performances were panned, with Bosworth receiving a Razzie nomination for Worst Supporting Actress. At the global box office it pulled in $391 million, or around $622 million when inflation adjusted, against a production budget of $232 million, $369 million today. Despite being the 9th highest grossing movie of the year, Warner Bros. Deemed it a disappointment, and plans for a sequel were scrapped. The blockbuster sequel Superman 2, 1981, marked Christopher Reeve's 2nd outing as the beloved hero, while Richard Lester took over as director, although not without controversy. The movie was originally helmed by Richard Donner, who had completed most of the filming before being replaced due to creative differences with producers. Despite the behind-the-scenes drama, Superman 2 was a hit and earned praise for its memorable performances. On online review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a strong critic score of 83% and an audience score of 76%. Globally, it earned $190 million, around $672 million today, against a production budget of $54 million, $191 million today. In 2006, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut was released, featuring previously unused footage. However, it was launched on home media rather than in movie theaters, so its financial performance is unknown. DC launched its DC Extended Universe, DCEU, with the release of Man of Steel in 2013, more on that soon. The fifth movie in the DCEU was Justice League, 2017, a blockbuster superhero team-up featuring the likes of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Justice League was plagued by production issues. Director Zack Snyder stepped down during post-production due to a family tragedy and was replaced by Joss Whedon, who oversaw extensive reshoots. The movie received a mixed critical response and holds a critic score of just 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, though the general audience score is more positive at 67%. The movie grossed nearly $656 million globally, approximately $858 million today, against a production budget of $300 million, around $393 million today. While not a total flop, it underperformed significantly. In 2021, Zack Snyder's Justice League, a director's cut restoring Snyder's original vision, was released on HBO Max. It received a more favorable reception from both fans and critics. As mentioned, the DC Extended Universe officially began with the release of Man of Steel, 2013. The blockbuster movie starred Henry Cavill in his debut as Superman, with Zack Snyder directing. The DCEU got off to an epic start, as the inaugural film grossed $668 million worldwide against a production budget of $225 million. When adjusted for inflation, that's a gross of approximately $920 million against a budget of $310 million. The film was a critical hit as well, holding a 57% critic score and a 75% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Cavill's performance in particular garnered praise, and he won the MTV Movie Award for Best Hero, defeating competition from Marvel heroes Iron Man and Thor, played by Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth, respectively. The DCEU's second offering was Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, 2016, the first ever live-action film to feature the beloved heroes together. Henry Cavill returned as Superman, while Ben Affleck took on the role of Batman, with Zack Snyder once again directing. Superhero fans flocked to theaters, with the movie grossing $872 million worldwide, a sensational $1.2 billion in today's money, against a production budget of $263 million, around $352 million today. Despite its stellar box office performance, the movie tanked critically. Reviewers and audiences alike slammed the overly dark tone and convoluted plot. It received 4 Razzie Awards, including Worst Screenplay and Worst Screen Combo for Cavill and Affleck, along with 4 additional nominations. Superman, 1978, marked Christopher Reeve's first venture as the iconic Man of Steel, with Richard Donner directing. The movie was a smash hit, grossing $300 million against a production budget of $55 million. In today's money, that's a heroic $1.5 billion against a budget of $271 million, cementing its status as the highest-grossing entry in the franchise. A critical darling as well, Superman won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects and earned 3 additional nominations: Best Film Editing, Best Sound, and Best Original Score. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a stellar 93% critic score and an 86% audience rating. Now discover the 21 highest-grossing Tom Cruise movies like this. Click the like button above, and click the follow button above for more great stories from Love Money.